Brogdon. Thank you for coming on Strong Inspirations, where we give it to you straight, no chaser. Straight notes, and I don't even give it to you. I let the people who know tell you these stories. And I'm covering a little bit of everything. And today is going to be an interesting story. I just asked my man, I said, what you going to talk about? He told me, and you'll hear it. I said, I never heard that. He said, cool. And that's what I said, cool. So you can get something I don't know. And I'm going to just piggyback off of what he talking about and ask the questions. So I can tell you this information so that you got it, like I got it. We learning together. But yeah, you might know I'm a filmmaker. I did this documentary called Business in the Black, The Rise of Black Business in America. And I say it with a smile because I got some brothers and sisters in this film going back from slavery to the 1960s. I got some brothers and sisters that was millionaires, really. They was worth almost $1 million. They was $1 million in their terms. You need to watch this. It's 75 minutes long and it's good. I know it's good because I did it. I know it's good. I got the DVD and it's streaming on Amazon. So if you don't have a DVD player, don't worry. You can watch it on your laptop, and it's cheap on as you're streaming. I ain't gonna tell you the price, but you know, Business in the Black. I had so much fun doing that film. Right, I wrote a book. It's called Black Business Book. It's like the movie, same kind of covers some of the same thing. The movie got some interviews with people whose family owned a business in the 1900s. A cemetery, kids who grandparents owned a cemetery in 1917. It's that kind of thing that's in the movie. The book doesn't do that, but the book got more facts. And it's more broad, and it's going to blow your mind. You got to get you a copy of this, and if you get one, I'm going to autograph it for you, just in case. That might mean something. Might do mean something, all right? And this is on Amazon also. And you can also get it, you know, so my man at the Amazon don't get a cut. You can go to my website, inspirationsbystrong.com. Everything I do is strong. Strong stands for strength, tenacity, resilience, and a sense of oneness, nobility, and grace. After I did that, hit the subscribe button to this video, to this channel, hit the like button. You're gonna like this video because my man, he ready. He in there nodding his head. He's not ready to go. Be quiet, brother. Hit the notifications bell and then tell somebody about Strong Inspirations. All right. Thank you for coming on my channel, man. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Glad to be here, Brother Jamal Touré. Some people say Dr. Jamal Touré. We do history and culture here. We tell our story. It doesn't matter where you're from. We tell a part of our story. We let people know. I am what you call a JLA, and people hear JLA, they like trying to figure that out. JLA, I tell people, many people got misconception about something when they say griot or griot. I tell folks, guess what? We never call the people who chronicle our history griots or griots. That is a French word. We call our people JLAs, Jolly Musos, Garwells. And so that's what I do. I tell our story. Again, I ain't got to be from where you are physically, but I can go and tell the story because the ancestors and the Most High put us in a position to do that. So we glad to be here, brother. That's why you got to throw up an A5. I got to throw up an A5.
Yeah, there it is. Where are you located?
We're located in Savannah. I tell folks on both sides of the water, Savannah and Hilton Head Island, South Carolina and Georgia. So we're right here in Savannah, Georgia. And so we have a museum in Riceboro, Georgia, Gullah Geechee, Riceboro, Georgia is 40 minutes away from Savannah. And the co-founders of our museum, Pat and Jim Bacot, because I'm the resident scholar, or one of the resident scholars at Gullah. And in fact, Jim lived in Detroit for a while. So yeah, so intimately known that. So, you know, we talk about Black Bottom and all that, Paradise Valley.
Yeah, you know what you're talking about.
I'm gonna throw some of that out there with regards to
you know what you're talking about. You know what you're talking about.
Well, sometimes what happens, see, we don't understand. We compartmentalize. We compartmentalize things that just because we're in a certain location, that's all it is, and we ain't got no ties outside of that location.
I got you.
Bust it open. We all got you. So I'm honored to be here with you right now, because I tell folks, when you ask me where am I located, I'm located in the Holy Land of African America.
Yeah, that leads to my first question. Really, I would think that if you say, what is the big 3, 4 cities to deal with Black history and talk about really Southern Black history, you probably got to go with Charleston, you got to go with Richmond, and maybe say the big 3. You really, and then you got to put Savannah, Georgia in that list, because Savannah played a huge role in slavery and all that. Am I right? Y'all feel that there?
Well, what it is, it comes down to, like I said, the Holy Land of African America. That again is Savannah's a part of that, coastal Georgia and southern South Carolina, because the beginning of Black history is tied in this area. It is not Jamestown, Virginia, and I know folks who celebrated 1619, but guess what? Africans are in this area 1526 with the Spanish, and they fight against the Spanish 1526 because we know the Africans and the Spanish go to a place called Santa Elena. Santa Elena today was later called Trench Island, but today we know it as Hilton Head Island. So that's why I tell folks, this is the beginning of our story. Right
yeah, that's
here.
what I'm getting at. Yeah.
And so with regards to our story, Savannah is significant with regards to telling the various parts of our story.
Yeah.
Southern South, instrumental.
Now, Savannah is it, how close is it to the waterway? Is it close to the waterway or something like that?
Savannah is, so we have the 3rd busiest ocean container port in the entire country. So we right off the Atlantic. So we right off the Atlantic.
Okay. Was there a slave port in Savannah?
Well, Savannah is a part of it. That's why Savannah is a part of that. That's why pretty much anywhere in the South, you're dealing with Africans being held in captivity. So of course,
sure.
Africans are being sold in Savannah River, in the city of Savannah.
Yeah.
So again, this is what one man said. He said that Charleston and Savannah will direct the business. He then said that Philadelphia and Washington will legislate the business. He then said New York will finance it and New England will build the ships. So he showed that how everybody's complicit in this right here.
Yeah, sure.
So Savannah, yeah, I mean, we are a port city. That's what we call ourselves, the port city. Some say the seaport. So that's what we are, a port city. We've been a major port city in the U.S. since the 1700s. And that's why I think that even today, we are still dealing with importation and exportation out of the port of Savannah.
Yeah, so sure. Let me ask you this question. How does it feel to live in Savannah knowing the role your city played in enslaving Black folks? I've been to Savannah, and I was there for the tourism. I went to the slave auction site and all that stuff. When you walk around, do you sometimes like kind of, dang man, this is messed up. I live in this city, and then you can go out a little ways and you see the plantations. Does that do something to your psyche? And just especially as a conscious person?
No, I mean, I have a tour company, so I'm just like throw that out there too. I have a tour company, and guess what? That don't bother none of us with regard to my people. They're like, I had some folks out of Ypsilanti on Sunday, Ypsilanti, Michigan. Had folks out of Detroit last week. And so when I'm giving them this information, guess what happened? They're empowered. And so I guess I need to share this right here. Most of us do not know American history. We know American mythology. And that's what we feed to people. They regurgitate it. But see, when you come to me, guess what? You get the power, you get the history. So instead of you feeling bad about something, you feel empowered. What we do, and that you do something out there, I tell folks, we inform, we enlighten, we inspire. That's what we do. So right there, I mean, I can walk around and I do it all the time. And people ask me, they're like saying, wow. And like I said, I'm then making connections because again, you don't compartmentalize with this knowledge. You go and share this knowledge.
I got you.
That's the job of the jail aide.
Let me ask you this question. I don't mean to interrupt you, but it pops in my mind. Do you hear ghosts? Do you hear the ghost of Black people? Are there, you know what I'm saying? Is it like when you go out in the woods or something? Do you hear the voices?
No, that's why I said no. No. We are the voices of our ancestors. See, now some people don't even understand that. I just said we are the voices of our ancestors. And when I tell folks, when they talk about the ghost stuff and all that, I like, listen, that stuff is fake and phony. And that's why, and people try to build off of that. I'm like, you are the voice of your ancestors, and they're talking to you all the time. They're whispering in your ears right now. But we do like that, or we blind to it. So again, I ain't got to deal with no Hollywood stuff. Let me deal with the stuff that connects me directly to Africa, because the genetic memory is right there. So, brother, that's what we do.
I got one more question in that same vein. I got one more question. Have you ever met a white person who you know that they ancestors were enslavers and all that? And do they apologize? Have you ever had anybody apologize for what they did?
People with me, when I've done my journeys, because I guess I should share this with y'all, that what I do, I travel where people want me to go. People want me to go to Haiti. I've been in Haiti giving history and giving culture. Mexico, that's what we do. Our museum, I say Riceboro, we were connected to Burkina Faso. So that's why I say, so that's what we do. And people come, and with me, what happens, folks then get, so I'm gonna say, engrossed and enamored into it. So folks don't necessarily go and talk about, get about apologizing. They start saying, wow, they want, for them, what begins to happen, which is that why I said, which is more powerful, is that now they begin to look at that African-American neighbor, that African-American co-worker, that African-American walking down the street, that African-American family member that they may have in the family. They look at them differently. Go back in time and share something with you on one of my tours. What happened?
I like that, brother.
And that's what the deal is on our mini.
I like that.
Yeah. Right up that Barack is now his first, when he is not elected president of the United States. And so I have this Caucasian gentleman who's from New York. And so we're on our minibus. And so, again, I'm giving the history. And so now he's taking it all in. It's not factoring. So then he got concerned. And why did he get concerned? He said, they're going to think because he's been elected, everything is okay, but it's not okay. So now that's why I'm telling you, we transform people. We take it to another level. So it ain't even about the apology. Now they not get concerned about saying, we still got a long ways to go, because after I done heard all this from you right here, all this information you gave us,
you got me on another way, the way we talking, and we're gonna get into the topic that you want to talk about. You got me another angle. I talked to a lady whose great-great-grandfather was lynched, right? Mm-hmm. And the one thing that she said was, and this is what I'm trying to connect it with, and even in today's terms, that guy or those ladies were just normal people living in that time, mm-hmm. and they had to deal with those circumstances. So can you imagine what it felt like, not you, but anybody, when you're riding in your horse? This is what happened to him. He's riding his horse and buggy. He's going to see his father, who had just passed, and he's coming to Savannah. No, he's leaving Savannah to go to North Carolina, and these white guys come up on him, and he know they're gonna kill him. Can you imagine the fear he had in his heart at that moment? It's incredible to think that we can't just denounce or not see the connection, and that's what you're talking about, the connection of those just normal people.
Right, and I'm gonna throw something out to you. And one of the things too, I tell folks this, I said, check this out. All our people did not exhibit fear. Some of our people understood they stood up, because just to throw some things out there to you, there are folks here in this area right here that even with regards to the sheriff, the deputies coming on their properties, they will come out there on their property, or come out their houses with shotguns and rifles. So that's why I tell folks, I say now Hollywood gives us the idea that our people always were afraid. African people here in coastal Georgia, in Savannah, marched down into other counties right after doing Reconstruction to make sure that Black folks exercise the right to vote. And they said, to bad men that want to stop us, we will confront you, bad men. And I said, that's a part of that spirit also, that again, we don't exhibit fear, because just like I was at a rally, and this week I told them, I said, listen, I said, we have no fear of man and no fear of woman. We love God. That's why we have no fear of man. And so that's our ancestors.
Preach it, brother. Let's get to the story you wanted to tell me that you talked about.
Well, just one of them, one I'll throw out there to you, and I asked you about a man's name, and I'll share this with you. There's a child that is born on St. Simon's Island, Georgia. That's in Glenn County, Georgia, 50 minutes away from Savannah. The child is living there on St. Simon's Island, but then his father passes away. So his mother is from Savannah, Georgia. His mother comes back to Savannah with the child. And so what happened, his grandparents who are there on St. Simon feel that they are better than the mother's parent because they were of Igbo descent. Again, they're directly from Africa, right there. So they directly, and so they fought the mother over the child. But what happens is that the woman is working at the Savannah Theater as a cosmetologist. And so she meets this man who has come back to Savannah from Germany, because what the deal was with him was that his father came to Savannah from Germany and purchased his mother on the Savannah River, right on River Street on the Savannah River, because his mother is held in captivity. His father is German. And so his father and his mother now will produce children, which he's one of them. But then what the father realized, that the children have the status of the mother. So that he sends the children to Germany to be raised. And so when he finally passes away, his son comes from Germany and he meets this woman who now has to fight off her in-laws over the custody of her child. And so he supports her in the effort and he gets her an attorney. And so what then happened, this child now is raised in Savannah, Georgia, in a place called historic Yamacraw. Today, Yamacraw is a public housing development, but it was a historic Black community. The child was raised in Savannah, Georgia, and the child was raised in historic Yamacraw and in historic Woodsville, another historic Black community here in the city.
Well, let me stop you right there. You we talking about what time frame are we talking about?
Late 1800s coming up to the 1900s.
I got you. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
1800s. This again, African people are free. So what happened, that this child now is raised in Savannah, and his stepfather is a minister, and his stepfather will take him to the courthouse for him to see how justice was being dispensed unfairly. Again, you ask that question, this is late 1800s when this is going on. So now his stepfather is showing him the discrimination that is happening to African people. While even here in Savannah, because he has a darker complexion, he also is discriminated against by other Black folks, because he talked about while in school, they would not give him accolades. But his stepfather is saying to him, basically, you got greatness in you. You are my child. And so that's being infused in him, that no matter what, even if they don't want to give you credit, I give you credit. The child then goes to Clafton University in Orangeburg, South Carolina. But then he transferred to Hampton University, and there he'll get his undergraduate degree. But then later on, the child then goes to, and now he's a young man, he goes to the Kent Law School in Chicago to get his law degree. And so now he's practicing law up north. He's in Topeka, Kansas. What then occurs, he is told it is not possible for a Black man to earn a living as an attorney up north. So what does he do? He comes back to Savannah. By this time, again, turn of century, his stepfather is operating a school here in Savannah called the African Union School. His stepfather is also operating a newspaper business called the Woodsville Times. So he's now back in Savannah, and he is now learning the newspaper business and working in the school. But then he decides, so he said, you know what? I'm not going to stay in Savannah. I'm going to go back up north. So then this young man leaves Savannah, this attorney, he goes back up north, and now he starts his own newspaper business. And his newspaper business, when he will send his papers back down south via the Pullman car porters, and he sent it back down south, his newspaper will have ads in the paper that say, leave the South, come up north, no longer face discrimination, come for jobs. And it's set off in part, what you know is the Black migration or the Black exodus. And what newspaper is that? And who am I talking about? Robert Sinstack Abbott and the Chicago Defender newspaper. Robert Abbott will cause 1 out of 7 Black folks to now leave the South and go up north. So many folks up north right now, in the northern part of the United States, you wouldn't be up there right now if it was not for Robert Sinstack Abbott. So I'm letting y'all understand the connection right here. So guess what? It just don't end right there. Now the folks are going up north. Some of them going to Danbury, they're going to Hartford, they're going to New York, they're going to Philly, and they're also going to Detroit. But Robert Abbott want to get folks to come to Chicago. And in fact, he called it the Great Northern Migration. And when those folks go to Chicago, what happens is this. They go to a historic Black neighborhood there called Low End. Today they call Low End Bronzeville. And so those people who move up from from the South up there, and they're not in Bronzeville, they have children. And then their children have children. And so then what occurs, those children, they are now living there in Bronzeville, but some of them begin to move out of Bronzeville and they move into Hyde Park. And in Hyde Park, they will meet a man right next door to Harold's Chicken Shack and elect him state senator in Illinois, Barack Obama. If there is no Robert Sinstack Abbott born on St. Simon's Island, Georgia, raised in Savannah, Georgia, you will not see many Black folks up north right now. No, you see Barack Obama as president of the United States. Bam. That's how I throw it out there to you too. The Sinstack family will not only have the Chicago Defender newspaper, but they will also have something called the Michigan Chronicle. So I asked people in Michigan, I said, y'all know about this? They said, Yeah, that's the Black newspaper. So that's why I tell folks, you see how all that's interwoven and connected to us? That's the power of us on our story. Then I asked people finally, I said, what is the oldest Black parade in the United States? Some people say Juneteenth. Some people are going to say Martin Luther King. I said, no, it's the Bud Billiken parade. There's something like Bud Billiken. I had people from Chicago going to say, I was a Bud Billiken queen. I was a Bud Billiken king. And so the Bud Billiken parade is a children's parade that's done in Chicago in August. It's a back to school parade. Now, let me tell you about the experience of this. Robinson Stack Abbott said that when he grew up in Savannah, Georgia, and historic Yamacraw and historic Woodsville, he said that on Sundays after church, they used to have ice cream socials for the kids. And so what he realized, you gotta take care of the next generation for us to succeed. So here you go, this event right here, this character created by Robinson Stack Abbott is tied to what he experienced in Savannah, Georgia. Again, that's power. That's the power of knowing your story. And we're all connected.
Unbelievable. And that's how it goes around 360.
Yes, sir.
Unbelievable.
Yes, sir.
That's how that happened. And then the other big newspaper was that Pittsburgh Courier. That was around in those years too.
That later on, members of the Sensac family have a connection with Pittsburgh Courier also. People right here will write for the Courier also. That's what it's about. But then not only that, but then the Washington Afro-American, all the Baltimore Afro-American. So again, that's what we got going on. Then the Atlanta Daily World. So we got all that. The Savannah Tribunes. Again, the Freedom Journal, and excuse me, the Freedom Journal is a separate one. But then we have all the power, and that's why I tell folks, I said that's what it's about. It's about us understanding who we are. And now to throw something at you too that you had talked about when you talk about the lynching. But I want to go to somebody else that, well, I need to let folks understand this. When you look at civil rights in the state of Georgia, civil rights in the state of Georgia was tied to Savannah, not tied to Atlanta. So again, the mentality of Africans, that's why I'm saying mentality of Africans in Savannah was one of independence. That's why I say that the people here say, we will fight for other Black folks to have the right to vote. And so with regards to what happened, there is a modern lynching that happened in the 1900s, also around 1940s, that with regards to a man by the name of Duck Mallet. This is in Lyons, Georgia. Lyons, Georgia is between Savannah and Macon. And so what occurs, Duck Mallet is a salesman, and he decides to register to vote. And that what happened, his wife and his son and he are in a vehicle. And then what occurs, the Caucasian men come out and surround the vehicle. And then they had to take Duck Mallet out, and they now shoot and kill Duck Mallet. So what will happen from that? There'll be a movement done by the NAACP, done out of Savannah, with regard to addressing the wrongs that have been done to Duck Mallet and others. So again, I tell folks, we are the hotbed of civil rights. We are the hotbed with regards to the movement, what we see here. And in fact, that continues until the 1960s, because in Savannah, what we did in Savannah, when we deal with civil rights, Savannah did not need anyone to come from outside of here, or excuse me, I was going to say coastal Georgia and Savannah and southern South Carolina didn't need anyone to come here to try to change the dynamics for us. We did it ourselves, because what our people did, we realized that they want to discriminate against us. Our people say, hit them in the pockets, hit them in the pockets. So what did we do? We did an 18-month boycott of businesses in downtown Savannah. For 18 months, they boycott, Black folks boycotted businesses.
Now, hold on, stop it right there. When is this? When is this?
It's 1960. And this is before the Civil Rights Act is signed in 1964. That again, what happened? 1962, 1963, Black folks in Savannah, they are now engaged in a boycott of the businesses, and they say hit them in the pockets. And they do that, and that will cause Savannah to become desegregated before the Civil Rights Act. And guess what? Dr. King said Savannah is the most desegregated city south of the Mason-Dixon line. And it was because of that. And he realized that I need to get people who are involved in this movement in Savannah to now work with me with the SALC. That's how Reverend Jose Williams got involved with regards to Dr. King, because they're not looking at what they're doing in Savannah, that Black folks realize, hit them in the pockets. And that's why I tell folks, when you talk about, you want to get at folks about some stuff, guess what? Hit them in the pockets. That. You understand that when you do the boycott, that's when someone will go ahead and make those changes.
Let me ask you this. Is there one or two names out of Savannah that really kind of get everybody to thinking this way?
You said one or two names?
Yeah, one or two people, one guy, one lady, or something like that. That's very prominent out of Savannah that make people think this way, or it just that's the collective effort.
That's the collective effort. I don't say that's the collective effort. Now people may say WW Law, but I'm like, that's why I'm
You
giving
might say who?
WW Law. But what I'm saying to you,
that's a person's name.
That's a person's name. But what did I say? I said I'll go back in time from the 1800s. That's why I'm saying Robert Sinstack Abbott, Reverend John H. Sinstack. That again, these are the people that this is the spirit that's right here. I guess I need to break down so you can understand, say our foundation. Yeah. But I hear Black folks talk about this all the time, that I ain't got my 40 acres and a mule. Guess what? Some of us who live in coastal Georgia, coastal South Carolina, not just coastal, throughout the state of Georgia, throughout South Carolina, and throughout the entire southern part of the United States, some of us have land in our families going back to the 1800s, but some of us don't understand how that occurred. So I guess I need to help folks.
Yeah. We're gonna let that do it. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
What is this?
Go ahead.
That Sherman during the Civil War, Sherman he goes through Atlanta, he goes through Milledgeville, he comes down to the Savannah River, he gets to Savannah, and when he gets to Savannah, Sherman will now have a meeting with 20 Black ministers here in the city of Savannah. And so those ministers say in Gullah, only one will crack a teeth for we. Only one will crack a teeth for we, which means in English, only one will speak for all of us. So they got Reverend Garrison Frazier from historic First Bryan Baptist Church here in Savannah to speak on behalf of all of them. So Sherman, just to paraphrase what he does, he asked Frazier, what does the Civil War represent to you and your people? And that's when Frazier says, how can you expect a man who has gotten wealthy off of us to treat us as equals? He said, it's going to take years to correct. We must have land. We must have land so the old men will work it, and the women will work it, and the children will work it. He said the young men will sit and fight in the war. Sherman is listening to all this right here, and he is so stunned by how Frazier broke it down to him. He now will issue something in Savannah known as Special Field Order Number 15, better known as 40 acres and a mule. So it's right here in Savannah that is issued based on African people. And so what Frazier says to Sherman also, he said, we'll be able to take care of ourselves by having this land and have a surplus. What does he mean by having a surplus? By having a surplus, that means that we'll be able to engage in business. That's what that's about. So now guess what happened? Black folks across the entire United States during the Civil War in the South now understand this war is no longer just about their freedom. It's about acquiring land and having land. And so guess what? That is January 1865. Going into 1968, somebody by the name of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King came to that same understanding. So Garrison Frazier and Black folks in Savannah had the mindset that freedom is tied to economics. Freedom is tied to economics. So right here, so that's why I share with you that you can throw out one person all you want, but I'm saying no, that has been the tone and the tenor of the mindsets of the people right here. Now, of course, what happened later on, we begin to change because some of us disconnect from our story. I'm foundation. That's why when you ask me, when I walk around Savannah, that's what I walk around with. That's what I go with. I go with the power that's really right here. So now here go Black folks saying they ain't got their 40 acres of mule. It's coming out of Savannah, Georgia, and they don't even realize the man who talked about it and touted that right there. Power.
Oh my God. Yes. Yes. Get it on, brother. Get it on. How you get to be like you are, man? How you get to be so knowledgeable and stuff like that, brother? Did you always, I mean, it passed down, like, did your great grandfather do something and he taught you this?
And I say that's a good question. People ask me that when we do our journeys, do our tours. My tour company is Day Clean Journeys, and our history company is Day Clean the African Soul. And again, our museum is Geechee Kunda. And so people ask me questions, they're like, like how? And I tell folks, it is tied to family. It's tied to family. Being around my mama, being around my daddy, my grandmama, my uncles, my aunts, my cousins, and hear them talk about family members, that intrigued me as a kid. So I'm taking it all in. And then because now it's just expanded, because now they're providing me with resources also that now know my story. And so I'm taking it all in. And so all it does is just begin to build. So that's why now when I have people coming from Africa, coming from the continent, And I hit them with say what war Fiana San Kofa Yinke and Kose Sekale. They like looking like
I'm sure.
they like, he from Africa? Is he from? And so they like, no, Jamal from here. And so that people from the continent start realizing, like, wait a minute, this is a Black American who's articulating this stuff to us. And so what they begin to realize, and as you threw it out there, brother, that's why I said this is that spiritual stuff now, that yes, it is something that comes down the line in our families, that we have those people in our families whose job is to chronicle our story. And see, for me, all it did was just really expand, not just for my family, but expanded to my African family, to our, as I tell folks, to our Africanity. That so now what people from the Caribbean, people from Central and South America, from Bahia and Brazil, I hit them with Imba the Danje Boa Moche, and they're like looking, like, wait a minute, so what do you know? And so now I'm throwing some of the stuff at them. So again, what all is about, it's about power right now. And so again, it's coming from family. Family laid the foundation. That's why I said that's the key for us, family.
Yes, brother, that's strong. And I guess another question came on. I would you consider yourself, for lack of a better way of putting, are you a Geechee or a Gullah Geechee person?
You know, any African American, that's it. Again, any African American from Jacksonville, North Carolina, down to St. Augustine, Florida, are Gullah Geechee people. And what people try to say that Gullah Geechee people, that we hold on to more African traditions than any of the Black folks in the country. I tell folks, no, all African people hold on to African traditions, just that people don't have to make the connection. So for myself, so yes, I am Gullah Geechee, and there are other Gullah Geechees that are also smaller pockets of us in Oklahoma, Southern Texas, and also in Nacimiento de los Negros, a Black city in northern Mexico. Again, those people descendants are the descendants of people who are Gullah Geechee people. So again, yes. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful, brother. Everybody, how about this then, right quick, as we come to a close? Is there a saying, a prayer? Because you got that religious kind of thing to you going, that preacher thing I like, that will close us out. Is there something like that you close out with people as you say goodbye or something like that? You know, so long.
Well, let me do this. I have two proverbs.
Yeah, there you go.
Two proverbs, and you know, it's for people to contemplate that the hunter will always be the hero of the story until the lion has a historian. The hunter will always be the hero of the story until the lion has a historian. And the other proverb is this: a mosquito will not teach an elephant to be an elephant. A mosquito will teach an elephant to be a mosquito. And I see so many elephants walking around who think that they are mosquitoes. They don't understand their own power. They don't understand their own glory, their own majesty. And so with regards to many of them, they have listened to the story of the hunter and not listened to and understand that they are the lion, that they are the royalty, that they are the ones that are fierce and powerful. They have not listened to their own story. So with that right now, some of us are not embracing who we are. It is time for us to embrace who we are, the majesty and the glory of the power of the lion and the elephant.
Yes. Strong inspirations. He gave it to you strong, didn't he? He did me. Brother, man, I surely appreciate you coming on Strong Inspirations. I'm gonna go do something today. I'm gonna tackle something today. I'm telling some people that, hey, folks, if you do not subscribe to this channel after you hear what this brother had said, then I'm gonna come at you again until you do. If you do not like this video, after what this brother has said, I'm gonna come at it again, and then you're gonna have to like this video. You're gonna have to tell somebody about Strong Inspirations. That's what we do. I thank you so very much for being on my channel. We'll talk soon. Let me tell you what I ask you to do. And with love, I ask you to stay strong. I ask you to stay safe. I ask you to stay on your grind. Peace out. Thank you very much for being on. Bye-bye.